you don't have to worry about this entire carbon. So just think about that one. So what is the most important thing in an alcohol? Is it the R or the OH? It's the OH. So whenever you talk about an alcohol, always remember that there is an OH attached to it. And that OH group attached to the carbon chain is the reason that it is alcohol. There is no, so even if you have this big carbon, double bonds, then I don't know, triple bond, and then I have an OH here. And I ask you, what is this compound? What is the functional group of this compound? What will you say? It's an alcohol. Because although you can see these triple bonds and double bonds, all that, there is a hierarchy of functional groups. So if the OH was not there, what would you have called this? An alkane, alkene, or an alkyne? What? Alkyne, because there's a triple bond, more reactive. So now you can understand, the more reactive it is, the more preference it gets in that hierarchy, because that's what we actually care about, the reactivity. So something, if that is more reactive, I will call it by that name, because when the reaction happens, it is from that position that the reaction actually starts. So in here, I'm not calling it an alkene or an alkyne, although there are double or triple bonds, because there is an OH group, and I want to remind myself that this is the place where this reaction will start. This is the thing that also is giving it the physical properties. So having an OH is going to increase the solubility of that organic compound in water. Just see, for example, when you have a C double bond C, so this is an alkane, this is an alkene, this is an alkyne, all having two carbons. So the base word is always what? Eth. Ethane, ethene, ethyne. Now, this is a what? Which class of compound does this belong? It's an alcohol. That's the first thing we'll have to say. An alcohol with how many carbons? 2. So what will be the base word? Eth. It has to start with eth. This thing, so this is the word for 2 carbons. I remove the E and add an OL. This is ethanol or ethyl alcohol. Ethanol is the IUPAC name, the more formal name. So this is ethanol. Now, quickly, maybe, so this was one of the important ones. You can also have an alkyl halide, in which you have an RX. Instead of that OH, you have an X. What is an X? A halogen. So you can have an alkyl chloride. You can also see that in here, right? Haloalkane. That's what you have it in here. Really important one is an aldehyde. This is an aldehyde, in which you have a carbon, and what is the hybridization of this carbon? It's an sp2, because it has 1 pi bond. So a more accurate way of representation would be something like this. Now, an aldehyde will at least have an H on one side. The other side could also be an H, but it can also be a carbon. So I'll just represent it as R. This is called an aldehyde. So you might have heard the name, formaldehyde. So what is formaldehyde? HCOH, that is formaldehyde. Now, the next one is a ketone, in which both these two flanks has to be an R. So R and R dash. So R1 and R2, something like that. Okay, this becomes a ketone. Okay, now when you remove this and have an OH, what is the name of this? This becomes a carboxylic acid. Amine, RNH2. So you can have CH3NH2, that becomes an amine. An amide, RCO NH2. This becomes an amide. These are all functional groups. Okay? Now, the other one, important one is RC. And this could be an H. What is this? It's an amino acid, because you have an amino group and a carboxylic acid group. This is what we'll take up in the next class, because this is the building. So amino acids are the building blocks of what? Proteins. Then you can have different kinds of things. So like sugars will become important. You can also have ethers. Right. Let me. So ROH becomes an alcohol. ROR becomes an ether. You can also have epoxies. And you can keep on complicating this, right? But the main things to understand is the hydrocarbons, alcohol, aldehyde, ketone, carboxylic acid, amines, amino acids. With this, you can cover a lot of them. Okay? So this will help you to understand that although there are a lot of things going on, but if you understand the basics, you will not get overwhelmed. You can come back to cheat sheets like these and say, hey, okay, that's fine. Although this structure is really big. So if we will see into the lipids, in which some of these lipids are what? So really long chains of carbon with a COOH group. So it's basically a lipid is what? A fat is what? It's a long carbon chain with a COOH group. That's it. That's lipid. And then you can have dehydration reactions between two things, forming more complicated things. We will call them different kinds of bonds. For example, a polypeptide bond, a peptide bond, in which two amino acids groups will come together, remove the water. Two sugars will come together, remove the water. So these kinds of dehydration reactions will also become very important. Okay? Little idea so that you don't feel like an outsider. That's the thing. These are all very simple things. But like this, once you understand what's going on, getting started is not a big deal in organic chemistry, at least. Sounds good? Okay.